Hello, hello.
Hey, finally
We
here.
are here. Welcome to the Horrific Talk Spot, where every month we talk shit about things.
And you have to
Yes,
listen.
or maybe not. Not many people do, but here we're having fun, so stuff you.
Oh yeah.
Just before I went online there, my fucking dickhead neighbour downstairs started this shit again, and I thought we were going to have him. Lucky enough, I got a new microphone, because if I had been my old microphone, you'd have heard every fucking word this dickhead comes off with. He drives me up a
Jesus.
wall. Every day, right? He's on the phone. Fucking leave me alone. Fucking shut up. And then it was one of the other neighbours told me that it's his girlfriend he's talking to. Like there, two things. I thought there was two people living together, and then
That's the
I was like,
crazy
okay,
thing.
right, these two are having a Barney, and then I thought it was like two down the cross, and then it turns out
Hmm.
I thought he was like in the house on his own, fucking just rambling, but it turns out he's on with this chick every day, and you're like, what the fuck?
It's especially because it's not in person. Like you're on a damn cell phone. Hang
Or
up. It's that
obviously he's
easy.
not. You know what I mean? You're not meeting the person every day, so why are you arguing with somebody you're not even meeting or shagging? I don't know. It's fucking.
Right. Well, I mean, I can understand the latter being pretty pissed, but what the fuck?
I don't know, man. And then it always just seems to be as I'm about to go to bed because obviously I have to get up early in the morning. And fucking, I was like, would you fuck off? And then that starts me off in a rage one. I'm like, fucking dickhead, and then that's me not going to sleep for like 2 hours. And then I'm just broken by the time Thursday or Friday comes around.
Oh, that's fucked
Oh
up.
man, I have been committing sacrilege over the last week. It's been disgusting. So
Yeah.
basically, I'm working on a digital archive place now. Just temporary job to keep me ticking along for a bit. But essentially, what we're doing is preserving, scanning books and genealogy records and fucking all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting hacking the
Hmm.
pieces, fucking books from the 12th century. I was talking about it last night, but fucking like, I mean,
Oh
quill
my
and ink,
God.
like church parish records have been given to libraries, in the reference section. Obviously, now some of the books you can understand because they're falling to bits. Like you pull them and they're falling out of the spine. It makes sense. That's the ones we're trying to preserve. But then you got these ones, and they're
Hmm.
fucking beautiful. I'm telling you, date of birth like 1167. You know what I mean? And I'm
Hmm.
going, and they're beautiful. And it's like there's 100 years left in these books, but I'm sitting getting the scalpel out and fucking.
Oh
It's the
God.
equivalent of being a vegan working in an abattoir. Honestly, I'm gonna do the Clarice thing. I'm gonna be fucking running out one day with a whole pile. I'll save you. I'll save you. Look at me, right from the bad man.
That's just insane. I don't get that because there's like programs that flatten out books. I've got one.
Yeah, but they're doing this. You have to understand. This is like warehouse full of boxes, and this is
Hmm.
only the current load. And I've been brought in for
Hmm.
it's basically the exams start in 2 weeks' time. So whenever the exam papers are written, we get them, scan them, and all that machinery's getting set up just for the temporary. But obviously to learn how to book and stuff, I was originally starting off with medical records. That's easy enough, fucking uh, all
Yeah.
different shit. Some of that stuff, like people fucking chew the ends of the paper and shove them into folders, and you have to fucking try and make sense. But last week I've been working on the sort of cutting section and that there, and holy shit, like absolutely beautiful books. I mean, the local churches, they used to be like they were the council, if that makes sense. I mean, they're the
Hmm.
record keepers,
Yeah, yeah.
and every year they produce these beautifully bound books, and that was the record. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting hacking them to bits, and I just feel like
That's
absolute
fucking rough.
shithead. Honestly, I feel terrible.
Oh, that's
You know
understandable.
what I mean? It's
That's rough.
oh man, but the thing is, at least we know what's because I'm starting to see the whole process now. At least the stuff's getting maintained. It's not going to get lost. Because, like I said, when you
Hmm.
see the ones that are actually degrading, it's funny because the 19th century seems to be the worst time for printing books.
Hmm.
So, like 1800s, you know what I mean? I'm looking at the 19th century stuff because it's like you're like doing stuff from the 12th century, you're doing like all the way up, and then you get the 20th century, and it's like, oh, staples. Look at these modern inventions. It's weird, but I'm actually seeing all the different, like the old binding techniques with the twine. and the glue and that, you know. And I'm sitting being a complete nerd, and my colleagues are looking at me going, "You're fucking weird." I'm like, but
Dude, this shit is awesome, man.
why are you not excited about this? Like, that's the original. You know, the binding where they do
Right.
like the 7 pages and then put it all together and then it's sewn through with the 20. You know what I mean? I'm actually ripping apart. You know what I mean? Ripping apart fucking beautifully made books. And then, you know, are you familiar with the term cooking the books? So whenever people would try and falsify records, what they actually did was they boiled them so the glue come off and then they inserted pages in, and that's why it was known as cooking the books. So what they did then is they put these lovely designs around the edge of the book, and that was to prevent fraud. Because if you tried to insert a page in, obviously you ruined the pattern. So I'm saying all that shit, and I'm telling people these fucking, I'm getting really excited, and they're going, "You're not,
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
they're just looking at me going, "You're not right in the head, son."
No, fuck that. They're the ones that.
So I'm like skipping out of
damn
work,
it.
going, "Yeah, I'm saying all this stuff," and they're just like, "The fuck is wrong with you?"
Must be a bunch of younger kids that don't appreciate books.
Oh, apparently it's going to be like Fight Club in the next 2 or 3 weeks to bring all these dipshits in who haven't got it. In fact, 2 weeks
Damn.
started with me and it didn't even last a day. And the girl that was training them was like, "What did I do wrong?" I'm like, "I knew from the first 5 minutes there wasn't a day's work on them. They're just, you know, mincing about. And apparently this is going to get worse in the next couple of weeks." And I'm just like, dude, fucking keep them away from me. You know what I mean? You put me in my wee corner, I'll do what you need me to do. But don't bring any of them fucking arseholes anywhere near me. I have no time for that nonsense.
No, that's just ridiculous. I don't understand what happened to a good work ethic. Like, how do you function in the world? That just blows my mind.
It's a bit of give and take, you know what I mean? You go and do an honest day's work, boss doesn't treat you like shit. That's the kind of agreement. And if we all stood by that, life would be good. But fuck, it's all got twisted. But I don't know, man.
That's just insane.
Everyone thinks they're going to be a YouTube star or an Instagrammer or a TikToker. That's what kids think they're going to do. You know what I mean? Sit in front of a camera and talk shite, and people will actually watch it. Like, imagine thinking that.
No. I know, crazy.
I mean, you have to be really sad to do something like that, you know, thinking people are going to watch you.
It's true.
But they don't get that this is a hobby. And they think that that's going to be their entire, you know, career, going to make millions, because they just see the tip of the pyramid, the apex. And they think that's be all and end all, and they don't understand you have to actually put a bit of effort in. Even do this shit, the amount of work you have to put in the background. Just to get in front of here, to at least try and I like to think that we're putting out decent quality content, if nothing else, that we're putting a bit of heart and soul and effort into it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, fucking youngsters today, they haven't a clue. I think it's as well, because when I was growing up, you had a paper round. You could go and work in the corner shop. You could help the milkman out. Go in the milk, you know, do the milk run in the mornings before you went to school. There was loads of things to do. If you're in the rural areas, you could go and help, you know, potato picking or hay baling. You know what I mean? There was loads of things you could do to make a bit of extra cash as a kid. But now that's all gone, so there's no work ethic being instilled from a young age that, you know, go and earn your own money. That's yours. You don't have to ask anybody for it. And that satisfaction that comes with earning your own way, even if it's not a lot, it's yours.
Yeah.
But now people are like 35, still living at home, and never, you know what I mean?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Fucking life.
I'm just kidding.
These guys, it was bad enough just before I moved out to spend a couple of days back home. Just we're two different. My family and I were just two different people. You know what I mean? Just it's great seeing each other and stuff, but they actually live together again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's even if I still had a family, like there's no way I'd be homeless before I lived with them again. Not that there's anything wrong with that or whatever, but yeah, just for the sake of, you know, being an adult, like I'd rather be on
your own
the
way.
street.
Just, but you've got this like infantile fucking people, and it's just like my last job, you know, I was dealing with career dollies, fucking people that no intention of working whatsoever, not even making that little bit of effort.
That's just insane.
Am I fucking...
Like, what the fuck do you do with your day?
I don't know, man. It's never been in me.
God,
It's never been in me to be like that.
Yeah, I was unemployed for a month because of COVID, and that was the most disheartening thing ever. I mean, I kept myself busy because I did all the choring, I did all the cooking, did like everything around the house. And it drove my wife insane. But like even then, still being busy, it's like fuck. I need to work. I can't not work. Which is I don't understand how people can be
Well,
that
I threw
way.
my energy in this. You know, when I was freaking going through lockdown and stuff, back waiting the things open up.
Yeah.
So this just became getting all the admin and stuff and set up. But at the same time, you can't do this. You know what I mean? There's only so much of this you can do before it starts messing with your head, because then you start thinking about, I've only had so many clicks this minute, and you can't go down that road making that, or else you just put your head away and not make content. I just get it, but you have to have balance, going out, and then you appreciate the time you do have. So when you're out, you're working, doing something, whatever it is, even if it's not your passion in life, because I think everyone has this notion of what you work as has to be the ultimate, everything about you, where work's just the means and end. It's great if you can enjoy it. It's great if you can get pleasure. That's why I try where I can to get some sort of enjoyment when I'm at work, because why be miserable? You know what I mean? Being miserable is a choice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sometimes it can't be helped, but if you actually choose to be down and miserable and fucking depressed all the time, that's on you. It's not on, but at least then when you come home, you appreciate the time you have, and then when you do create other things outside, you're more, you've more satisfaction from it, because at least you're making best use of your life.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's me changing the world again. It's like a philosophy session, isn't it? Every time we start this.
One podcast at a time.
Oh well, shall we talk about some movies? Right,
Hell
let's
yeah,
go
let's
into
do
HORRORific
this.
Releases. Okay then. Right. Where do we begin this? I was looking forward to this. The Haunting of Ravenwood.
I enjoyed it, but we also know my taste in movies, so like I had a few issues with it, but it's all just like the technical shit. Like I've said it once, I'll say it a billion more times. Like sound can ruin a movie,
Yeah, there's one scene in particular.
and it's no exception. Oh man, yeah, that scene, that was like I was on board whole fucking time up until that, and then it was like
You talking
I'm
about
gonna
the
go grab
stairwell?
a drink. Yeah, like when there was just that, like clearly the microphone
Up
was
at the
here,
top of the stairs.
and she's all the way back here, and you're not hearing shit. She could be yelling, and it's just like, yeah, that was a little rough.
Yeah, that was the bit that just took me out of the movie. I'm just like, oh shit. Oh, where's the second microphone? What the hell?
Right.
Strange sound. So basically, Haunting in Ravenwood, independently created movie. It's actually a guy that's on my friends list. He was the screenwriter for it, and I think he was the assistant producer. I didn't take down all the. I hate doing the names thing. Do you know me? So people made a movie.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible.
People acted in it as well.
Yes.
Adam does all that stuff. He
Yes,
loves
we got-
getting into all that. Producers and fucking directors. That's not there. That's just not me. It's like I want to talk about the characters and the actual story, and then we'll worry about how it went right or wrong afterwards. So, got a newly married couple, Eric and Mary, move into a house of his late wife, where the garden has been maintained in her memory. Soon events take a spooky turn. It's a bit of a strange premise for a movie. Because...
Yeah, it's like how long after his first wife's death did they move back into her
I thought it was
manor?
2
Which,
years.
I mean,
I wasn't 100%.
come on.
This word is a bit ambiguous.
Yeah, I kind of
thought it was
that
2
part,
years.
but
I could be wrong, because it wasn't really made clear.
yeah, I completely missed that part. I just remember Captain Turtleneck bringing her there and talking about his dead wife the whole time. It's
Jesus
like, come
Christ, he
on, man,
was
that's a little fuck.
um. Where that character, right? He's a city boy. He's a fucking penthouse suite. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Elite fucking banker, artsy fartsy type person. On what planet would he move into a house like that, or move into like a remote town? It was he stuck out like a sore thumb. I was like,
Well, I mean, it is kind of explained later on in the movie, like after the dinner scene, that essentially he's just a fucking parasite that leashes onto whoever's got money.
but again, that
So
doesn't
it,
make sense because he would have just sold the house.
yeah, I don't know. Well, and especially to employ Homeboy the whole time. And let's face it, that guy
Fucking
fucking
groundkeeper
sucks
Willie.
at lawn skating. Like that dude, man. I mean, I want that job where I'm just getting paid daily to sit there, have a sandwich, and take a rake every now and then. Go, oh yeah, raking up this pile still from 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
it's like a freaking civil service
That
of the
motherfucker's
council.
got it.
He just needed somebody with a high vis vest to be watching him eating a sandwich and raking the leaves. Being a government employee.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
But he needs to have like 7 supervisors, all hard hats, all discussing.
yeah, God, man. And also, they should have went to the botanical gardens and like superimposed it in because it was grass and a bit of dirt.
I mean, there were some
Okay,
flowers
like
there,
that's
so it's something, I
when
guess.
somebody says meticulously cared for a garden, I'm expecting hedgerows carved into swans and fucking color coordinated, all round seasonal fucking bouquets and water fountain somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And the mosaic path leading and twisted and winding through it. I'm not expecting someone's backyard.
Yeah, for being a manor, that wasn't much of a
Yeah,
manor.
but weird. So we'll start off. We're in the therapist session now.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm not too because I know therapy is an Olympic sport in America, but were they both part of some program? Because I wasn't getting the hint it was a normal therapist session. So she had been committed,
Didn't seem
but
like it.
had Eric been part of this group or something?
No, I think she found him afterwards. It kind of seemed like he forced himself into those sessions, like after she had already left the, like each meeting, because that's kind of what the therapist was saying. Like, oh yeah, your husband seems so concerned. He was talking about this and blah blah blah. But no, I'm pretty sure it was post her getting out of the asylum or whatever she was in.
Yeah, because it was weird. It was like she had been committed because of stuff going on, and it seemed like they both met each other through grief counselling. It wasn't really well explained, but it almost sounded as well as if because remember she brought up the no relationships rule. It almost sounded as if it was conservatorship that you know what I mean that was a rule if you wanted to stay out in the world and not get put back in again. I don't know. It was all very ambiguous. I
Yeah, I
didn't
missed
quite
that part,
get
I guess.
the premise behind it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like I mentioned, they're going through that counseling session. She's talking about all these changes and moves in her dreams, and then and apparently I was a famous actress who was in The Exorcist who played the counselor.
Oh, okay, that makes sense as to why Pazuzu was there. I was I was really fucking wondering that. I'm like, why the fuck is there a Pazuzu statue there? Like, am I missing something, or is this going to be one of those things where everything in the background is a horror reference? So
Yeah, I
that
forget her
that
name,
makes
but
that makes sense.
come on, I didn't bother. You know me with fucking actors. I look at here and now. I don't worry about. It's not about what they've done before or anything else. It's the here and now in the movie I look at. Because it doesn't matter. You can make 100 movies, and if this is a stinker, well, tough shit. Or if you've made 100 stinkers, and this is your grinding piece of glory, cool. We'll go with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was all really confusing. Because it was going as if it was a normal therapy session, but then it was hinting that there's more to it. And then it plays out later on, which got really weird. Yeah, and like we were talking about at the start. So, this is Eric's old married home where Carla, his first wife, killed herself. He doesn't fit there at all. Like,
No.
makes no sense for him to move back to that neighborhood. Plus, he'd only been there through work, consultancy thing. So he'd no attachments to the town, no investment. We'll get on that next scene later. Fuck, that was horrendous as well. So it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was one thing I was having a hard time understanding. It's like if he owned the place, and especially if he's paying somebody to keep the grounds, like why the fuck wouldn't he stay there?
Paying property tax.
Yeah, and that's just a fucking killer, even if you own a place. But yeah, I was having a hard time understanding that. And then to show up and they don't have, power or anything. It's like why would you be paying a guy to keep the lawn and the garden, but not keep the power? And the inside
looks as if it's a dungeon, and plus all the old stuff. They're talking about having furniture arriving, but all the old stuff was there, and they've never visited. Like, it's easy to jump on a plane and go, an internal flight, jump on a plane, go and see the place, tidy it up a bit. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah,
I know we're trying to create atmosphere, but logically, my logic center's going, why? So some of this house.
Well, and especially if you already have a groundskeeper, like, why wouldn't you have the groundskeeper take care of everything else?
That he was doing it for free. That they started off paying him, then let him go, and then he just kept coming around to do it. But I don't know, man.
I thought he was still paying him though.
Once again, it wasn't clear.
I don't.
Because it was the father was the original groundskeeper. Then they took on the son, and then they said that the son just kept coming around anyway. And I don't know. He was a waste of a character anyway. There was potential there, and just turned out to be a waste of a character, which was a shame.
Yeah, it really was. Because they kind of set him up like he was going to be almost like the middleman between the current wife and the ghost of the old wife, because he was the only one that like regularly saw her. And then it just ended up being him just standing outside going, "Oh, there you are again."
Yeah, it was
and that was it.
Oh man,
great beard though.
Well, that's what it. He's just if he had talked in a Scottish accent, that would have been it. Because he's groundskeeper Willie. That's just what I saw straight away. And I just couldn't get that out of my head. I'm just like, oh, fuck, I just couldn't take it. You know what I mean? What's his face that played the lawnmower man? He was that was, if you're talking about somebody who's challenged and, that's their thing, that's the sort of character I was expecting to see, not this guy.
Right. Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, because he's used fucking grooming products, and that voluptuous fucking herpes of his, that's his pride and joy. You don't get like out of it. Simple, there'd be birds' nests and stuff in it, and
Yeah, that was not a Radagast beard. That was somebody that takes care of themselves.
So you don't, the character does. Once again, Eric's character doesn't fit. Gregory's character doesn't fit. Mary's cool. Her character was cool. She seemed to be the one.
Yeah, she. So I hate to say it like this, but they were in different movies. She was in this movie. Like her whole. There was a lot of overacting, but excusable, especially because we established from the beginning she's crazy. But she was the one that beat for beat everything made sense for the movie and the style of movie with her.
Yeah, it was like her movie, and everyone else just kind of there. It was just
yeah. They were like the tie-ins for different sequels or something.
Very, very. Where does this all go together? I was really struggling, and that's what I said. I was always looking forward to this, and I'm spending most of my time scratching my head, going, "What the fuck's going on now?"
Well, especially with it basically being a chamber piece. Like there should have been a lot more chemistry, and I didn't feel any chemistry. I mean, definitely between her and the groundskeeper, like, because I mean, he's a gentle soul, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
befriend you
the scenes with those
because
two
you
were
miss your
actually
other
great.
friend." Yeah, that was great, but Eric, Captain fucking Turtleneck, like he did not fit in very well. And I understood, like obviously he was set up from the
Oh,
beginning to be the
the
bad
movie
guy,
beats you over the head
and
with
it
it.
was
It's like
obvious he was
fucking,
gonna be bad.
he's the villain. I know.
Yeah.
Stop hitting me. I know he's a villain. I won't be surprised.
Yeah, it's like I don't even think that if he had a curly mustache, a cape, and a top hat, it would
Fucking
be
neon
too
sign.
much. Like he was already right fucking there. The thing he was missing was going and tying her to a
Yeah,
railroad
God.
track.
And plus, did Mary have any money? Because I wasn't. We don't get a.
Yes. Yeah, actually, so that is set at the very end of the
All right, I
movie,
missed
pretty
that bit.
much, which doesn't make sense. Like that should have been at the fucking beginning before the dinner scene, and then it would have made sense as to why he married her versus, whatever else.
Yeah. Fucking.
First to a makeup company.
Oh, is that what it was? I don't know. Honestly, my
Yeah.
brain was.
Yeah. So
That's why there's two of us had to do this, because honestly, you're going to pick up bits that I fucking struggling through. And
yeah, I don't understand why that was brought up at the end instead of the beginning, because I feel like that would have made the dynamic between the two and his reasoning for being so involved with her life and shit, and wanting to kill her. It would have made a little bit more sense at the beginning.
Yep. And let's talk about the sound, because this is the thing that really took me out of it.
Yeah,
they're in the house, and she's hearing creaking, and we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said it's a creaky old house and floorboards, and then he goes to walk around the house, and it's dead silent.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even her, like, there's no sound whatsoever. Even when she starts walking up a side, there's no sound. None of him creaking about or anything else. Even doing the switches in front of the camera, like, there's no sound. And also, who lives in the house? I know there's no Wi-Fi. That they had to bring that bit up, but you could have fucking bought a $10 radio. Like, even before my Wi-Fi came in here, I bought a radio and had it plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? You can put batteries and things. There's still batteries, even if you don't have. Like I said, $10 radio, fucking couple of AA batteries, you're done.
Right. Well, and the thing is too, it's like they're not out in the sticks. Like
they're in the town.
What? Yeah. When you first are introduced to the house, like you're seeing their neighbors that are right across the street, and it's not like what you traditionally think with a manor being out in an isolated bit of the woods with 20 acres surrounding it. It's like, no, they just live on a normal street. Like there's got to be a market or something close by.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a whole lot of stuff. I know suspension of disbelief and all that with a movie, but you have to have some sort of common sense, and there's none of it here. And it's like, really? And plus, he's such a pretty boy. That's the last time I'm taking a cold shower ever again. Like super fucking.
Yeah.
Like, really, dude? So if you're that precious, you would have had the electricity on before you moved in and sullied yourself.
Right.
If you like the finer things in life, there's no way you're just moving into a house that's went on this.
Yeah, no shit. And it's like, do what normal people do.
And then she's having
Stay
a
in
full-on bath.
hotel for a couple
2
days
scenes
until
later.
everything's.
So he's complaining about having a cold shower, and then next thing you know, she's having a bubble bath. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Because they didn't get electricity the whole movie. So how the fuck was she able to heat up, like... Or is that an ice bath, even,
I guess. It must be.
hard as nails? Fucking hell, I couldn't do that. I'm gonna relax in my ice bath here with fucking bubbles. Right, I'm not fighting you, love. Fucking hell.
I mean, hey, why not? If it's comfortable for you.
Go swim in the Arctic, just for fun. Okay, right, you're scaring me now. I'm whatever you want. Here, take my wallet. If you're that tough, fucking hell, I'm out.
Yeah, fucking you deserve it.
Yeah.
You earned that shit just by living.
So she starts having dreams. Sorry, just looking at it. Yeah, starts having dreams and stuff, and she says not, and then She's asleep, awake, and he's saying there's nothing in the house. And then we'll get that scene when we first meet groundskeeper Willie.
Mm-hmm.
This guy Eric's a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's proper squaring up to this guy. Come here. You alright? Fucking, you still fucking here, sort of thing. You know, like, dude. And he's the one that brought her down to introduce him. And he's like, proper getting stuck in. Then you're like,
yeah, I was just waiting for him to call him a nerd and give him a fucking wedgie. Like, he was being an ass.
but the thing is this a transformation of character, or is this just him the whole way through? And plus, if that's him the whole way through, what the fuck's she doing with him? How did he charm her?
Yeah, right?
Like, this guy's got not the actor, obviously, but the character has got the charisma of a fucking brick.
Yeah.
So he's bullying Gregory, who hasn't seen in a while. Which, once again, doesn't make sense if he's been paying him, or, you know what I mean? It's just, Jeez, my God. I don't know. I just, like, I got confused at this point. Nothing about this guy.
Yeah,
I mean, like, he's the worst criminal ever. Like,
Yeah.
not even.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, spoiler alert for the end, but like, how the fuck did he get away with it? Like, he doesn't seem like he could get away with anything.
No, that's what I mean. I'm moving back because honestly, if there's no spoilers in this movie, because it beats you over the head from the start. So
That's true. That's true.
you know what I mean. It really does. The Visions of Carla. Oh fuck! Once again, back to sound. Mary, Mary. Oh my God! I was going to switch it off there and then. Like, what the fuck's this?
Well, the part that got me with that, not just the like that, but him walking around with a sheet over his fucking head. It's like,
Oh God,
dude,
that was later on, wasn't it? Oh fuck, that was.
dude, no, that was pretty much from the beginning when she starts thinking it's haunted. Like, he's fucking running through the house.
Oh, was
with
that him?
shit. Like, when he,
I
yeah,
thought that was. Oh God, I thought
straight
that was
up,
just cheap
him.
effects.
It had to have been him.
Oh, so he's literally
No, because-
running around the house going whoa at a sheet. I
Yeah.
thought they were just.
Well, and then
using
it's
bad
revealed
effects
later
to
on.
Be her, and he was just doing. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I think he was just trying to fuck with her is what it was. At least that was my take on the whole sheet over the head traditional ghost. But then, you know, later on it's revealed that the sounds in the house are because he's got like fucking speakers running all throughout the house to fuck with her. And it's like, dude, that you're trying way too hard, man. It's not that hard to fucking convince somebody that a house is haunted.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need some elaborate setup. And especially just a fucking kill her. It's like, dude, just kill her. Like, make it look like a fucking suicide. It's fine. She's already crazy. Everybody knows that. Except apparently he didn't understand. And this is really jumping ahead. But
This is the
like, the
problem.
whole
There's no. You're going to jump back because this movie's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
it really is. Which, not necessarily a bad thing, but not a good thing. But so it's later revealed why she was in the mental institution, and it's not because she was tried to kill herself, which apparently he thought she tried to kill herself. It was because her brother came back from Afghanistan, Iraq, some shit. I don't remember what they actually said, but he was a Marine.
Yeah, it was Iraq.
Was it Iraq? Okay. But yeah, he came back all fucked up and ended up killing himself. So because she was one that found him, she lost her shit and checked herself in. And this is about the time where fucking Captain Turtleneck snaps because he's like, ah, shit, she's not suicidal. Fuck, how am I going to make her look like she's suicidal? Oh, I know. I'll hang her.
Because what you do is you move back to the original crime, the scene of the original crime, where people know what happened, and then you're going to have it replay out again, and you're not going to look suspicious. Plus, you've absolutely no fucking personality. You stick out like a sore thumb, because straight away it's like, oh, city boy, what's he doing here? You know what I mean? There's no way he blends up in the community. And serial killers, psychopaths, you know what I mean? They know how to push people's buttons. And so they would be the friendly, and people would, you know, get on with them, and they would never suspect. That's always the way they work. But this guy, no.
Yeah, this guy's not that guy.
Yeah, right. We've hinted at it, but let's go to the dinner scene because that was the weirdest part of this movie.
That was very, very, very weird.
Like, I I don't get it. Who are these people? The Nichols.
Like, really?
And she even calls him Doctor Nichols. Not even
Well,
his
that's
first name. His wife calls him Doctor Nichols.
I mean, to be fair, if I was a doctor, everybody would call me a doctor. Period. I would correct every single person, even my own grandmother. Like, no, it's not Cameron. It's Doctor Cameron.
Yeah, that would work with me, wouldn't it? That we would have some fun conversations. That would be our entire podcast. It's Doctor Cameron. Fuck off,
Right.
Cameron. It's just Cameron to me, cunt.
No, fuck
you.
yeah.
You don't get me. I don't care. Nah. We could do that for half an hour, easy.
Oh,
Yeah,
every episode. Yeah.
that would just be it. But right, now was the guy Nichols trying to compete with fucking Captain Turtleneck for personality disorder or lack of?
I guess. And it's like I'm still kind of on the fence as to why the fuck he brought him over. Like I believe it's because he was trying to get her to leave her original therapist and go to this guy so that it was easier to explain that she killed
But the
herself
first thing you're taught
somehow.
in therapy is boundaries. So one thing you're not doing
But
is sitting, having a fucking glass of wine in the house with the client. Doesn't matter how small the town is. That's a fucking, you know what I mean? You can see your clients
yeah,
going about their, you know what I mean? If you see them in the street or whatever else, that's fine. But you're not sitting in somebody's house with because that was one thing, you know, no, I was doing that course. Was it last year? I was in beginning of this year. Yeah, fucking hell, it feels like a lifetime ago now. But that was one of the things, neutral environment. So that's why you
right.
don't have pictures of your family or, you know, even certificates and stuff. You try and keep everything neutral because you're not trying to impose something on therapy. You know, the person you're speaking to. So he's like sitting there, glug glug glug.
Yeah.
I will be your therapist. I am your therapist now.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
very
who the
aggressive.
fuck?
Well, and then the moment, like, after they're done, Homeboy's picking up dishes and shit and asks his wife to help him. So then they're just sitting there with a bottle of wine, like, oh, therapy.
And plus,
yes,
they were slagging
therapy. I'll
off.
talk
They were
therapy with you.
slagging off
Like,
a patient.
that's a weird.
Remember at the start of the dinner conversation? They're fucking slagging off a
Oh,
patient
yeah.
in a small town. It's like, what the fuck?
Really weird.
Fucking, I'd sooner take my chances than go to you, big lad. You're a fucking nightmare. Jesus Christ,
Right.
you're cooking more damage after seeing him for a while. Oh man, yeah, that was just weird. And there's no chemistry between fucking Captain Turtleneck and these two. Like they work together for a bit. There's no.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. It's like, that's supposed to be your friend. Like, why are you... Like, I just didn't understand his character and his relation with everybody else in the movie.
Yeah, like I was saying, it just didn't. He didn't fit into that environment. He's a city boy. He's part of a completely different crowd. So going with these like homegrown country folk, or in suburban types, just not. It's not even jam. But there's not even like chemistry of friendship or anything else. It's just I was very bland, and I did struggle because then you don't see what the motivation. Plus, what's his animosity with Dr. Abbott? Because he doesn't know what's been said in the thing, and he's already said she's been with her for 3 years and nothing's changed. So what the hell is he gonna?
Yeah, I don't get that at all, and especially because like she's just throwing shit out to him. Oh yeah, no, I told him or I answered all the questions he had. Why? That's not how this game works. But it was kind of weird. Like that whole dinner scene was essentially just a setup so they could explain her character. Like, and why would you stop at the doorstep instead of talking gossip in your car like a normal fucking couple? It's like, You're standing right at the threshold of their house. They're probably going to hear you. Oh, yeah, no, he totally knows how to pick him. He just got with this bitch because she's an heiress to a makeup company. It's like, man, you're like 5 more steps to your car. Just
Yeah.
say it in there.
Oh my god, it was awkward. Like, that was the definitely most awkward part of this movie, because it's really jarring. I think we didn't need those two characters. What we need is a bit of exposition at the start of how these two met.
Yeah.
I think that's what we needed. It's like they're trying to fill in plot holes. All these plot holes are along, they're trying to like scoop and fill them in as a go along movie, and what it's doing is they're digging more plot holes to fill in the first one.
Yeah. No, it's like I understand wanting to like slowly reveal the characters throughout the movie. But again, like this isn't the kind of setup where you need that. Like if everything's set up from the get-go and then we just sort of see her decline and you wonder what's real, what's not, as far as like the dreams, I guess ultimately the nightmares, the passing out, all that shit. Like it kind of was there as far as like, is it real? Is it not real? But the problem was from the get-go, we know.
Yeah, well,
it's
Gregory's
real
the one that
because we see the
gave it
ghost
away.
thing.
Because he's talking to her, at the window. So that green light, oh my god.
Hey man, all I can say is if you're walking into an area of your house and it's got this green glow, you should know some shit's going on.
Yeah.
Like, just don't go there.
Like,
that's not safe.
Nah.
I loved seeing the smoke and shit. I just kept waiting for Evie from the Evil Bong series to pop out. It's like, that would have been fan-fucking-tastic.
I don't know. I think this might have actually been served better as a comedy.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, this movie, it's one that if I would have watched it alone, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. But watching it with my wife with a bag of popcorn and us just giggling the whole time and talking about it, it was fun. It was worth the $3 in my opinion.
Yeah, because I take it you didn't rent the HD version.
But yeah. No, that's the only version I could get.
I was saving myself a quid in this. I've just got a funny feeling. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, nah, just save myself a quid. That'll do me.
I've spent more on less, so it's like whatever.
It's like a small victory, sort of,
here's the thing.
I win.
Yeah. I paid for SLC Punk 2. I ended up throwing that fucking Blu-ray away afterwards.
Never even seen it.
So I'm kind of one of those people that's like, as long as I don't spend $20 on something that really sucks, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's I'm quite frugal, and then I go and spend money on random shit, and it's like, what? Where do these two parts of me connect?
Right.
Right. So we've got let's talk about Carla, because this is the biggest letdown. They were hinting at her. The voice, I mean, if it had been a whisper or a Carla, help me, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not this cheesy, drawn out. Nah, 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 nah. I was just
Yeah, I don't understand why it was the sing-song voice. It's like it's not like a little kid spirit, because traditionally you would imagine a little kid spirit would be that way because they don't understand. It's like this is a grown woman that was brutally murdered.
And
why?
They've been building her up. Then when she finally appears, she was a zombie.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. There's two different versions of her.
I saw the one
That's
going.
the thing I don't get. Like even my.
What is this?
Yeah. Well, and I don't get why it went between that and normal, pretty, ethereal Carla. It's like, and if she got hung, why the fuck is her face like that?
Yeah, because she would have been, I mean, it wasn't as if she was out hung on a tree in the middle of a wood and left for the fucking bears and squirrels to get at, for 3 months.
Yeah. Yes, that was a little weird.
Also, her motivation. She wasn't trying to save Mary. She wanted them out of her house. Well, according to Gregory, anyway.
Mm.
Because you know what I mean. It's like, what actually are you here to do? Are you trying to push Mary over the edge, or are you trying to save her from him? Are you wanting revenge? Like, why are you here? Because honestly, she could have not been in this movie. The ghost actually could not have been in this movie. Because
yeah, I mean her one actual contribution is definitely the ending, but even then, not 100% necessary.
No, because yeah, where do we get? This all builds up. Let's talk about the stairway scene anyway. Like we're saying, the microphone's at the top, and was this coming up? I got confused because I started losing the will to live. Honestly, about 3/4 way through this. You know when you just start at a screen, you're going, yeah, there's stuff happening. I'm taking none of it in. It's like my brain goes into protection mode.
Yeah,
because it's starting to hurt. Because that stuff's just jarring and doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that's always the hard part. It's like sound. Like there's another movie that I tried watching recently. I just gave up on called Lamageddon. Like straight up my alley. Stupid as fuck. Like I love that kind of shit. But man, if the sound isn't there, I can't do it. And when it got to the point where they're like in two separate areas and he's perfectly crystal clear and she's talking like this, it's that shit just, it's like, come on, man. Call me. I would have gladly just bought a fucking lavalier mic for him.
Yeah.
Just so it would have sounded a little bit better. And like I understand, like the rest of the movie, I mean it's a low budget movie. So there are certain things you just kind of gotta, give them a pass on. Like the really bad echo and stuff because they couldn't like pad the walls. Because I mean, this is all shot on location. It's like
I would have forgiven that.
Actual, like set or anything.
There's no problem with that,
Like I can be fine with that. It was that one scene where that was that severe sound separation. That's what took me out, and the rest it was just sort of like
it was after that. I just
I'm this far
off.
we're all finished.
Honestly, my brain just went nope. Colin's no longer home. And I had to struggle to, because I know I was going to talk. If I wasn't talking about this movie, I'd have probably just switched off or just not even, just deleted it from my brain, which will happen after this. Just like it never happened.
So I'll probably watch it again because I got it for
the
another
same
24 hours or something. So just to get my money's worth. But yeah, that final scene where Carla Mary actually sees Carla.
And they never spoke to each other.
And then he tries to.
She just went. Like the two of them never had a moment, or she never revealed to him. Yeah. He's the one who had to explain that he killed her. So why is Carla there? Carla could have done that. At least make use of her character. Yeah. What's the fucking point in hiring an actress to not use them?
Right. Yeah, it would have been scarier not to actually see the ghost, but to just have the hint of a ghost. Yeah, that whole end scene of him choking her out with a noose for like 5 seconds, and then she's dead, and then goes to her therapy session and is asking if she's dead. It is?
So,
I guess, like I was under the impression, it took a few minutes to actually choke somebody out, like to the point of death. But apparently, if you're crazy and scared, it takes like 30 seconds. And then the killer thing, like you could see her breathing the whole time. It was, and I understand this is a movie. We gotta suspend a little bit.
We've already been generous enough.
Like there's methods.
I've ladled on suspension of disbelief, and it's still not working.
Yeah, it's like there's methods to make it so you can barely see any sort of movement, but she was just normal, like while she's laying there.
Plus, it's like, she's bigger than him,
man.
Because when she goes to fight with him, like she's bigger than him. Like he's a wee dweeb.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, for once, it's not like accommodating stuntman and like 100-pound female weakling. Like she's bigger than him. Could kick him around the place.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's thing I didn't understand, like why Carla had to help her end up killing him.
She was
Like,
better at knots.
should have just been able to do that shit on. Oh,
I don't think Mary knew how to do the knots because she just got the rope to tie it
yeah.
up. You know, I mean, obviously she was just happening right that because um, obviously Mary doesn't know how. She's too busy beating the crap out of him. So I'm trying. I'm trying here.
Yeah.
I'm really trying.
And then the final scene, like, she didn't need to lay there and cry that long. It could have been a few seconds of her crying and then just hard cut to the end. Would have been fine with that. But to keep going, it's like, really? Are you going to be that sad that that piece of shit that abused you for however long you guys have been together is dead now? Come on.
Yeah, and the betrayal. You know, that sense of betrayal. Like honestly, there's if somebody betrays you like that, you're not worth tears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, straight up.
Like imagine getting randomly married to someone you hardly know and moving thousands of miles away. Like only an idiot would do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
This was no the final scene.
Hey, you know what? At least it didn't end that way. That could have been much fucking worse.
No, we
Or,
had Gregory in the garden.
I don't know. Would that have been that bad? I don't know. That's a discussion for a different day, I guess. That's a whole other show. It's just for you and me.
Oh man. But that final right, wrap this bit up. That final scene, Gregory's like looking up and the window goes green again. It's okay. They're gone now. It's like somebody else is going to move in. Do you think houses just stay?
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
it's now
It was-
Mary's house.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
It's now Mary's house because she's married to Eric. Eric's just topped himself. Possibly. Who knows how this plot works? Or is she going to jail? And the government and everything? We don't know.
I mean, it clearly looks like suicide somehow.
Yeah, okay, I'll just whatever. I'll just go with it. I don't want to hurt my brain in this anymore. But
Yeah.
Mary owns a house. Let's just say it's going to go to somebody else, or is she just going to move in and have two ghosts and pat them in the head? Fucking, I don't know.
I guess. I mean, I would. Whatever. At least you'd never be alone.
Yeah. Yeah, it was disappointing. I was looking forward to this, and yeah, man, it just didn't. It was just if it had just been a clear, concise story, you could have forgiven a lot of things. You knew it was low budget, wasn't expecting super duper special effects, but I just needed a bit of atmosphere and a bit of chemistry between the characters. Just
Mm-hmm.
which, yeah, wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, my biggest thing, like I said, sound. Sound's always the biggest killer for me. Because, yeah, I love schlocky, low-budget movies. Like, I've got an ungodly amount of them and just eat them up. But if the sound's not there, it's almost unwatchable.
And that's the thing. We've been talking about independent creators and that for a while. Hollywood has got all the money, has the budget, and they're churning out absolute shit. This is the time to take their market, but you have to have the basics. You have to have the basics of storytelling. If you have a basic story, don't overcomplicate it. The rest kind of falls into place. But if you don't have that thing, and even the actors have to look as if they're meant to be together. Now, it might be they're a group of friends or they all know each other and that's kind of the circumstances rather than reaching out. I don't know the thing behind the scenes, but those guys don't gel together as actors.
Well, the thing is, looking it up afterwards, because I'm bad about that. Like, if I watch something immediately afterwards, I'm fucking trying to find out everything I can about everybody. And, yeah, they're all, industry professionals. Like, Mary, she's an actress. She, if I remember correctly, she does sound and stuff like that, which is ironic because it's like, come on, man, if you do sound, like, not that hard to help out. But yeah, I know, like they all have credits. They have multiple things they've worked on. So, I mean, they could possibly be friends, but it's also like, there's a pretty big amount of things that they've been on. So there should be, I don't know, I guess as actors, there should be a little bit better um, chemistry and shit. Like they should be able to dive into that a
was
little
the
bit
bit that,
easier.
you know what I mean. It should have. There was no cohesion with it. And that's what
Mhm.
pulled it apart.
And again, the thing is, like, Mary's character, I believed. Like, really, the only one for me that was hard, other than the couple, but they were kind of throwaways anyways. And essentially
They
just
could
like
have
a
not had those
transitional
two and
period.
bought an extra mic.
But it was, yeah, right. But yeah, Captain Turtleneck, he was just not. He
Yeah.
was in a different movie than everybody else, and that really was hard for me.
Right. So, yeah, sorry guys, but yeah, it was.
Fuck it. I still say if you like low budget shit that isn't going to be like Citizen Kane or whatever, fuck it, it's worth a couple bucks, especially if you're going to sit around with some friends and watch it. Like I don't regret watching it last night at all.
I think because I'm sitting on my own, like,
But again,
trying to review this. That's the thing. I think
yeah,
if we were all sitting together having a few beers, it would be
yeah,
different matter. It would just be giggling to Ian. But I was
yeah,
actually like seriously trying to
completely.
watch this thing.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a big difference. The environment that you're watching it in, and I can understand, like, if I would have been in the opposite role like yours, just watching it by myself, taking it seriously, yeah, I probably would have lost interest very early on.
Oh well, give it a try, folks. And if you disagree with us, stick it in the comments. You know what I mean? Let's have the discussion. It'll be
Right.
fun. Right? Shall we talk about something else? Let's.
Hell yeah, let's get on some
Yeah.
horrific.
Mom, where have I been? Why did I not know this was a remake? What is wrong with me?
Right, that was the fucking funny thing when you hit me up about this. I was like, oh yeah, cool. Which one are we watching? Are we watching the '86 one or the Corman movie?
This is a
What?
thing? What is wrong with me? I have watched.
Yeah.
You've seen my DVD collection. You know about the movies I watch. You know I'm a big freaking geek. You've seen my library. You know I'm a nerd. You
Oh
know
yeah.
I freaking geek out and stuff. How did I not know this?
It happens, man. It happens.
God, I don't know. I didn't realize. By the way, we're talking about Little Shop of Horrors. God,
Okay.
this was just joy. Honestly, this was just
Hmm.
I just big grin on my face, just laughing, like both versions. I
Hmm.
thought the original, the Corman version, 1961, mightn't have stood the test of time. But holy shit, that's cutting edge even for today. The acting and
Oh yeah. It's
genuine belly laughs.
well, and especially yeah, and once you get into like the behind the scenes of both these movies, actually, like it adds such another layer of depth to these films. Like the Corman one, I'd seen that a bunch of times, never really considered it. And then it was either earlier this year or late last year, I was watching the Joe Bob version of it. And he's talking about like, oh yeah, they did this on like next to no budget and filmed it in 2 days. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. This is what you can do in 2 days if you're Roger Corman?
But that's what I mean. This is
Man's a
done on the
fucking
stage.
legend.
Like we'll just talk about, giving forgiveness for budget constraints, but this is basically a play. You know, I mean, that's it. It's just a play on a stage with a few street shots.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, especially the remake. I mean, that's the thing. It's so for those who don't know, the '86 version with Rick Moranis and everybody, that's not actually an adaptation of the Corman movie. That's an adaptation of the play or the musical that was adapted from the movie. So it's a remake of a remake, essentially.
Yeah, so yeah, there you go. It's but nothing takes away there. I know she brought Audrey out for this. Is that just a?
Yeah, I totally had to.
Was that just to go mine's bigger than yours? My little effort.
Yeah, I got too much.
It's like fudunk.
Yeah. Well, I almost forgot this morning. I'm like, shit! I was talking about bringing her in last night.
Oh man, this was such a joy to watch. Like I said, normally we're picking apart remakes. We're going about this didn't do this right, this didn't do that, but you can't with these two. They're both fun, brilliant movies in their own right. They both have enough
absolutely
of the same that you recognize it, but they're also enough different that it has its own flavor.
Oh yeah.
And if you haven't seen these, honestly, shame on you. Have a word with yourself.
Definitely. I mean, I felt bad watching it last night because it's like I was thinking back on. I'm like, fuck, when was the last time I watched this movie? And it's like, God, I had to have been a kid when I saw this shit, because I know it was before I got out with my wife, and we've been together for fucking almost 15 years now. It's like, holy shit. How have I gone this long? Especially because I own the fucking
it's something
Blu-ray.
Always in the back of your head.
Like, how have I gone this long without watching?
You always remember. You know what's there. You know the characters. Yep.
And you know the damn songs too. Do
you know why people have Rocky Horror Show parties? We need a little shop of horror parties.
Dude, I can get behind that.
Don't
loves me some Rocky Horror,
obviously.
But yeah,
don't want to repeat of that. But yeah, there should be little shop of horror parties. Really, this is such a fun movie.
Yeah, I would totally do a midnight screening of this shit. I love it.
But yeah, so basically the whole premise is we've got this flower shop. It's on Skid Row. Gravis Mushnick, he owns a place, and in the original version, it's a joke of "you're my son, you're not my son," but in the remake, it is he's his adopted son, and I'm thinking human trafficked. Do you know what I mean? There's a bit more of a sinister undertone in the remake. You know what I mean? There's definitely that wee bit of darker undertone.
Oh, yeah. I was an orphan, so he adopted me, so I could.
And I get every other Sunday off and a kick in the balls. It's great.
Yeah.
But Audrey, they changed the character of Audrey. I like the Audrey, I like them both, but I like the simple wholesomeness of Audrey in the original.
Yeah, they're definitely very different characters.
But they're for different lead-ups, because in the original, obviously, Seymour has his hypochondriac mother. So that was to bring her into the scene, but obviously in the remake, we're bringing in the dentist, Oren Scrivello. So, and there's character completely played different as well. We'll go on that in a second, but the whole dynamic, like the first one, I was on board, like, and I watched it in the black and white. I know the colours version's available, but stuff I watched it in black and white because I wanted that original, original feel.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, like for a start, who owns a shop in Skid Row? If the place is that run down, get the hell out.
Right. Yeah, flower shop, Skid Row. That makes sense.
Yeah, just not happening. So the premise is, on the day of a solar eclipse, Seymour comes by a plant. Now, in the original version, he got Japanese seeds and planted them. And then in the remake, he got it from a Chinese vendor. So there's still a bit of the Oriental influence there, just they switched it up a little bit. But still the whole point of a solar eclipse. And he got...
Yeah, still makes it all magical.
And then we got Seymour. Basically, he's trying to, keep the plant alive. It's project, and it turns out he works on all this weird stuff down in the basement. Does both, and then it's when he pricks his finger and feeds Audrey. It was Audrey Jr. in the original one, and then Audrey 2 in the remake. They played it up. They played
much more clever.
Like little subtle changes. But it's good to keep note of. Like I said, both these have their own flavour.
Yeah.
When he drops the blood in, and that's it. It just goes fun. I really love the way they did the original one. Like that was really well done, considering the time and the budget and everything else.
Oh yeah.
I did like the animatronics though in the remake. You know, the whole and
It just every scene that plant is in, it is insane. Especially thinking about what they had to do to film all that shit. Like for the song numbers, like when Rick Moranis is like dancing and singing with Seymour too, or Audrey too, like that was because of course the limitations of animatronics and shit. Like they had to essentially speed it up, so the entire scene was shot basically at half pace, and it holds up so fucking well. Like you don't realize that. Like if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. You're just like, fuck, man, that's impressive that they're getting the plant to talk that fast. And it's like, no, they're not. It's just fucking Rick Moranis is that good that he can just sing, like slow everything down that much that once they speed it up, it's going to be perfect.
And that was the thing. You could be mistaken thinking Rick Moranis is just acting like Rick Moranis, but I forgot to put his name down. The original actor that played Seymour acts exactly the same way. So they're both the same character. So there's no,
Oh yeah, 100%.
You could actually switch them around into either movie, and they're the same character. I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about, because that's what we're doing. What we're saying now is that basically Audrey 2's wanting feed me. It was an interesting choice. Like I said, they made it into a musical. It was an interesting choice to like play that out. It just gave it a whole new vibe. It's fun, but both essentially the story is the same. We're then leading up to the dentist, who was Dr. Phoebus Ferb in the original, and then it was Oren Scrivella. Am I pronouncing that right? Because
yeah, I believe so.
But we'll have to talk about Jack Nicholson in the original. But like the dentist is a sadist,
right?
And then when you get a masochist come in who's into it, and Jack Nicholson just owned that whole scene. Oh my god, he was brilliant. God, what'd you call him? Character Arthur Denton. So you got this Arthur Denton character coming in. I was like, is it going to hurt? Oh, and then even the fact that he's, I think people don't understand that Jack Nicholson has played a variety of roles and doesn't take himself too seriously. I think at some point in the 80s they thought he was like better than all that kind of stuff, but he's not afraid to make a fool out of himself and have a laugh.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because he's an actual
remember those?
Actor. Yeah,
what an
crazy
idea.
Well, that's like such a great counterpart as Bill Murray's character in this. Like that shit is. I mean, I would believe it if they just were like, "Hey, Bill, you want to come in and shoot a scene with us?" And then all of that is just him ad-libbing.
Yeah, him and Stephen Martin just playing off each other. Yeah, brilliant. But then obviously the Audrey character, Audrey 1, in the second one, they have her basically being abused, and that was the way of introducing the dentist character, and they just did him in a completely different way. But it worked.
Yeah.
But essentially what they're doing is setting the dentist up and both to be the first victim. Even them replaying the scene, we're fencing, ha ha ha, just these people are cracked out of their head, like just how they still run a business. They got either of them.
Right.
But that's, once again, it was just the whole, even this version in the 60s, the fact they could pull that stuff off, and they had the whole sadomasochistic element there, and brought it, how they got away with that, I don't know. Like,
fucking Roger Corman, man.
Maybe they didn't realise what was happening, because they would have jumped on that. You know what I mean? If they had a twig done, hold on a minute, you would have had all the placards out, going, you're not showing this filth to our children.
Right. Well, God, even in the fucking 80s, dude, like, this is end of the 80s,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Almost beginning of the 90s. Yeah. It's like PMRC, shit like that. Like, the Christian right was really starting to lay down the law. So the fact that that was a widely released movie and I would say almost blatant
Oh, without a
BDSM
doubt,
play.
especially Bill Murray and Steve
And
Martin,
they're
they,
just like,
they
yeah, no,
really
that's cool.
hammed it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So the fact that that was just like, there's amazing.
You know, and just got away with it. And then people think this is a family movie. You're like, no. Especially the
That's what I miss about the 80s and 90s. Like, you could have family movies that there's adults the jokes get, and kids just look at it
yeah,
like, oh, that's funny. But it, with older and
yeah,
and
because
it's
then
even
that's
funnier.
why certain franchises have lasted so long because they had the two elements going. That's the beauty of innuendo.
Hmm.
But that's all gone
Hmm.
now. You know, it's everyone just.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're saying about the Christian right
Everything
in the
is
80s, but
on the
now the
head.
pendulum went the whole other way. So we need the pendulum sort of in the middle like this. We don't need it like right here or right here. You know, that's where things get fucked up.
Yeah, somebody just grab the fucking thing and let it hold still.
Fucking calm yourself, people. But yeah, they gave Audrey 2 in the sequel. They'll give her more sentience, but that was just, I think, effects because the original they did brilliant.
Hmm.
You know, they actually given
Yeah,
this
no, it
thing a voice,
fucking
and the way they
perfect.
did it worked.
Hmm.
Trying to think. Yeah, just a really well put together movie. Honestly, I just had it, and
Yeah, there's just really not a bad thing you can say
I
about
can't pick these
either
apart. That's what I
film.
said at the
Like,
start. I just
uh, yeah, it's just so fucking perfect. And it's such a simple premise. Like, man gets special flower, wants to become important for his love interest, becomes important for his love interest, finds out that the love interest doesn't give a fuck. She just loves him anyways, and then it's over. But it's just so perfect throughout. I mean, of course, now here's the thing: there is a bit of a difference, obviously, with the Corman version. He just can't take it anymore,
yeah.
so he's the last meal, which is
They brought this
fucking
whole thing about I can
perfect.
only eat
Like,
three times.
perfect way to end it.
I never heard of that with a Venus flytrap before. No, and I've tried to keep them
Mhm.
there. Don't have the climate over here, so I've never.
Dude, they're a motherfucker. They are some very
You get
finicky
their moisture
plants.
wrong and the light wrong, and fucking
Mhm. Their vitamins wrong. Like, yeah, they're tricky. I like to think I have a green thumb. I care for a lot of different plants. Yeah, I don't think I could ever, like, unless I moved, I don't think I'd ever have another
and that's the
Venus
annoying thing. All the
flytrap.
garden centres they have them here on the pots. You know what I mean? Freaking rows of them. Every time it comes this time of
Hmm.
year, and you freaking rows of Venus flytraps. You're like,
Hmm.
I tell you, here's how bad I am. Right, I have a spider in my kitchen. Right, and it's been there
Hmm.
not too long after I moved in. It just stays up in that thing. I cleaned away some of the webs, but it's still up there because my
Hmm.
like herb garden, my little herb plants that I have along the windowsill, they start
Hmm.
producing flies, and I'm like, right, yours, get to work. You know, get these sorted out.
Dude, I totally get it, man. Like, in my garage, there's a nest of oh god, what are the wolf spiders? But in this area, we get like black widows and shit, and that's what they hunt after is flies, other spiders and shit. And my wife's always like, "Oh, well, you need to spray, you need to kill all the bugs." It's like, no, man, me and them, we've got an agreement. They leave me the fuck alone. I leave them the fuck alone. They eat all the pests and shit, and I just we're buddies. Fucking every now and then I'll catch a
Yeah.
fly, throw it in the fucking web because
Okay,
they're cool.
which of the
They know don't
species,
get
which
near
is the one
me,
that
and I
crawls
won't get
around
near them.
shit and then lands on your food and be sick on it? Do you know what I mean? Carries
Right.
disease. So, which one
Yeah.
do I want rid of?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so they're cool with me. They got their place in my garage. I fucking leave them the hell alone. It's a great symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it works for me. I can be even I can be a real hippie at times. I know I get annoyed with activist stuff because those people just annoy me anyway. Doesn't matter what cause you have. If you're an
Mhm.
activist, you're an idiot because you're just a fuckwit and you
Right.
actually go against the message.
Yeah.
If you're getting people's backs up, well,
Hmm.
guess what? You may as well work for the opposition because that's the effect you're having. Doesn't matter what cause.
Pretty much. Like I
have my
can
little
appreciate
hippie
that
moments. I
sentiment
like
quite a
modern
bit.
technology, I embrace the modern world, but at the same time, I have my little bit, or I enjoy nature, let things be. I don't see the point in going around trashing everything.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. If I won the lottery tomorrow, the first thing I'd do is buy a giant lot of land and just become a fucking farmer. Like I would just live off the land because I wouldn't have to work. Like that's ideal to me. Of course, I'd still have modern
Yeah, it's about a
conveniences, but
balance, you know what I mean? You wouldn't go and,
yeah, the idea.
for a start, you wouldn't go and rip
Uh,
the plot of land apart. You'd use like modern innovation to like how best to integrate with the land. You know what I mean? If you're going to rip up trees, you're going to like
oh yeah.
replant them again. It's just about you don't have to wreck
Absolutely.
the place to be modern.
Hmm.
And solar and wind energy isn't 100% reliable, so you have it as a backup. So you're not using as many resources until the technology
Hmm.
gets better. What you don't do is go out and get
Yeah.
fucking industrial glue and glue yourself to pavements, because that's really environmentally friendly. Because when they have to get the solvent to remove it, yeah, that
Right.
works fucking fantastic, doesn't it? With your polyester tents and fucking loudspeakers and campfires.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another famous tangent.
God damn it! It
Yeah,
ties in with the movie.
the sequel. Yeah, let's go. So the police start catching on that these people are going missing in the original. We'll go to the Corman version, wrap it up, and then we'll talk about the sequel because there's a wee bit more to it. They start chasing him. He's running around the place, and then I thought the brilliant bit was when the floor heads start popping up, and it's got the victims' faces on it.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
dark.
Fucking amazing. Yeah.
Like that. That's why this is under the horror genre, because it might be all light and fluffy and jokey, but it's fucking dark, man. This is a cannibalistic plant that people are getting
Oh yeah.
fed to, and then they don't even have the grace to be allowed to die.
Yeah.
They're trapped as part of the plant, and fucking there's obviously their whole bodies being melted off and fucking absorbed into the plant, and their consciousness is in a pile going, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that's fucking terrifying.
But like you're saying, the last scene when Seymour just had enough, he gets his scalpel and he goes to dive into Audrey Jr. and he becomes it himself, and everyone's just like, and keep the plant. Like
Yeah.
that's the fucking darkest, twisted part of the original. Oh, he's now a plant, and they're all like screaming inside, going, no! They just
Yeah.
keep it there. Brilliant. Right, so what we'll get, then we'll go to the sequel, and we'll go for the theatrical ending first. Obviously, we'll have this like scene because Audrey 2 figures out how to use the phone and stuff. Like Audrey 2 is twisted, really sneaky,
Brilliant.
Like Levi, I can't remember the name of the actor, but he did a fantastic job playing Audrey 2. Like he really gave that plant soul, and then that with the way they did the effects, you know what I mean? Just that plant came to life.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's hard. You like it, especially like with modern sensibilities. Like you forget that it's a fucking puppet.
Oh
Like
yeah,
completely
I was out of the
forget.
zone.
Because nowadays, yeah, it would just be a fucking cartoon like any other Marvel movie.
But it's worse.
But I mean, this is 1986. That is all
But that's
100%
still
practically
watchable
done.
today. You still enjoy it, and you still have suspension of
Yeah.
disbelief. When you watch any of this CGI infested shite
Mm-hmm.
that comes out, and you're lost because you know what it is. The magic isn't there.
Mhm.
But yeah, they have the whole running battle. Audrey 2 is trying to eat Audrey 1. And that's what makes Seymour snap.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
And then eventually that rips out, it's starting to rip out the cables, and then we start seeing the mini heads. So they took the concept from the first show of the mini heads, but it was mini Audreys.
Yeah, which that scene, that shit is so great when finally Audrey or Audrey 2 rather has some backup players for the singing. It's so good.
I think it was the same girl. The three girls that are singing throughout it. I think it was them singing as well. Yeah, so I was just,
I
you know, I
believe
mean, they
so,
didn't
yeah.
waste any resources. I think those three actually, in the remake, they brought something else to it as well. They brought a wee bit
Oh
of
yeah,
magic to it. I
definitely.
know, I mean, they weren't as if they were shoehorned in. They actually helped narrate the story. Absolutely
Oh
wonderful.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was great. Like it's so rarely do you get an adaptation of a musical that feels like you're watching an actual musical like on stage versus watching a movie. And this one, I mean, it's a movie. It's clearly a movie. There's different angles, different cameras, but
But you feel like
yeah,
the
it just
camera's going through
felt
the
like you were
stage.
in a
Do
theater.
you know what I mean? It's not like it's going on the
Hmm.
set. You feel like it's actually the way they bring the camera into the top. It's almost as if they're coming from the audience. It's almost as if they're giving a little sneak peek.
Yeah, fucking brilliant.
No, I genuinely love this. So eventually Audrey gets defeated in the original version, and then they go to the white picket fence. You know, live happily ever after. Pans down to the garden, and you see another mini Audrey's
Hmm.
grown again. And even though it's no eyes, it manages to wink. Like that's even because
Yeah.
there's no eyes, but you get facial expressions. Like the animatronics of
Oh,
this
yeah,
thing is
100%.
beautiful. Cheeky
Hmm.
wink, and you're like,
Yeah, and it's so funny. Like they had to do that because they did the original, like the play ending or the musical ending, and just shit like fucking all the test audience just shit on it. Like, oh, why did it have such a sad ending? It's like, well, you uncultured swine. If you'd seen the play, that's what happens. But yeah, so this was an after the fact type of thing that they had to
yeah,
film
because it's
because it
yeah, we'll
was
go to the
not
alternate
doing well.
ending now because that was really quick. You know what I mean? And you can just tell it's kind of just being
Hmm.
slotted in. Then we'll go to the alternate
Hmm.
ending, which was the original ending, which everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so precious." Like, this thing is right to the knuckle. Let's be honest. It comes across as a fluffy, bright comedy, but it's really fucking dark. It's beautifully dark. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And
definitely.
I think the original ending shows that out, and I think that's what might have been too much for audiences because normies like they could live in the happy, fluffy. Oh, there's music, they're singing. They can kind of get away with it, but I think that went a step too far for them. But obviously not for us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's because most people want a happy ending, and it's like
But it was a
that's
happy
not
ending.
realistic. Like, not everything has to happen.
It was it was a happy
I
ending
mean,
for Audrey.
I thought the original ending was a happy
You know what I mean?
ending. I thought, like, I mean, that's one of my biggest dreams is to watch humanity fall and the planet take over again. Like, I think that's fucking beautiful. So,
Yeah,
for
Day of the
me, it's
Griffins, you
definitely a
know, or
happy
something like
ending.
that. You know, that's kind of where it's got its influence from. But yeah, in the alternate ending, Audrey wins and then reproduces. They end up in all the
Mhm.
shop floors. Everyone wants an Audrey, and then eventually it's just like raw, big giant monsters going about. But the amount of that's why I knew it wasn't an alternate, you know, like a director's cut because the amount of effort that went into the last scenes. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't as if it was. You know, sometimes you get an alternative ending and it might have been the test and it's not really quite finished.
Mhm.
But this was full on
Yeah.
finished.
Oh yeah.
And you just see the army trying to like take them on and nothing stopping them. And then the train scene. You got the train scene, you already just go, doink. Like it was beautifully done. Like I said, everyone's just creating havoc. And the, use two dogs, I think, you know, running and it's like, oh, don't eat the dog. Don't eat the dog. Don't. That'll be too much even for me. Like,
Mm.
no. Even if it has just a rubber suit and put the dog in, it's just like, nah. So they hinted
Yeah,
at it,
that's hard.
but it wouldn't surprise me if they had it done, you know what I mean? Because this, there is an element of, I don't give a shit, I'm just making a fun movie, and if you like it, so be it. If not, tough shit. You know what I mean? I'm making it for me. That's the impression I get from
Hmm.
this movie.
Yeah,
Is that when you're making something for
definitely.
yourself, at least there's integrity behind it, and that's what I get, and that's what keeps me on board, even after all these years.
Hmm.
But yeah, the
Yeah,
alternative ending scene this year was so much fun.
definitely.
But yeah, all good. It was got a wee bit of a mixer, you know. What is it? Are people
Hmm.
afraid to tell stories now? What is happening? Where were we able to watch
I
something
think,
from the
yeah. I
'60s
mean, the
or
problem.
the '80s and still enjoy it and understand that there's nowhere near the amount of technology or budget available. Yet we'll watch a modern movie and it's like it falls flat. What's the missing ingredient?
Well, the missing ingredient's the fucking audience. The audience is so different now. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the new Mulan, like the live action.
I heard a review of it and I'm like, nah, fuck that.
Dude, it is. So the problem is modern audiences don't have an attention span. Like, it's like 15 seconds and then you have to get on with it because of the YouTube generation and, like, you know, social media. Like, everything has to be so small in size for people to actually consume it. Anything over a minute, they're not going to. And I think that's the problem, because you can't tell a good story if you're constantly jumping. Because, you know, subliminally, every time you do a cut, you're reminding the audience that they're watching a movie. So, at least I know that's my problem with shit like that, is like every time it does that, it reminds me, oh yeah, I'm sitting in front of the TV. You know, I'm not actually in a story. I'm just watching this filth. And I honestly think that's part of the problem. Because like true storytelling takes time. It takes effort. And if your audience doesn't have an attention span for time and effort, well, then you just got to pump out garbage.
It's a shame. I was having a chat with Evan last night. He was on HORRORific Chats, and he's actually a school teacher. And I'm like, are we the last? You know what I mean? Is there hope for the next generation? He says there is. Actually, there is. There's still kids there that want to learn, that want to embrace movies, that want storytelling. So there's still an appetite for it. So I'm hoping that we get back, because it's really fucking depressing to think that this is we're the last of people that actually appreciate stories.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard because it's I spent some time with my sister over the weekend. We went to a wedding. That was a fucking thing. But the whole time she's working on a college project, and one of the things she was doing was reading about her specific generation and explaining, like, it explains what their problem is, how to kind of combat it, and blah blah blah. And like, I really think the generation right after them are the ones that are going to take both sides, like appreciate all the technology and all the like modern conveniences and stuff, but still be able to appreciate shit that like we appreciate. Whereas, you know, the I generation, as it's called, like, they're fucking idiots because they're coddled. They don't understand how to read. They don't understand how to write. I mean, I heard there's people that don't even understand how to use a fucking computer. Like, unless it's their phone or their tablet, they don't get it. And they have zero social skills. It's like, God, that can't, like, humanity can't go on.
That's what I'm saying. It almost feels like we're at the end.
To that.
And that's what I was saying last night. It's like, throw me a bone here. Give me some hope that it's not over. Because that's, you see it with entertainment. And that's, people dismiss entertainment, but it's a conduit. Entertainment is a conduit for ideas, for imagination. Imagination is what gets you thinking outside the box. Imagination is what gets you inventing things. Imagination is what helps you solve problems. If you've no imagination, unless you're given a step-by-step list for everything in your life, do step 1 to 10, you're going to fall apart. The whole point of sparking somebody's imagination is that when something comes across they're not used to, then you can figure it out yourself. Storytelling has been the essence of the humanity from we're in caves.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, there's still societies today that still thrive off of oral history.
Well, the Amazon? No, that's only down the road.
The fucking even closer to home, my people, like, Navajo was never a written language, so our history, everything about it was always an oral tradition, and I mean, it still is to this day.
We've obviously had great discussions. It's something I think needs to be written down so it doesn't get lost. You know, it's like I said, I'm in process of archiving at the moment, and there's stuff there that's obviously you won't find on Amazon ever. in a million years. So how do you preserve it and how do you share it? So it's come with the old and the new, you know. But you can't lose the integrity of the old. I'm sick of this trying to rewrite history and destroy the past and label everyone with the same tar brush. That's not how you progress. You learn nobody's pure, clean, and innocent. That's not humanity. Every fucking species is like we're like a big pack, you know, big pack of dogs. You know, there's different breeds of dogs. You either like dogs or you don't. You know, it's not like only like this breed. If you're a dog lover, you're a dog lover. You know, that's the way it is. And that's the way you view humanity. Don't lose the integrity of each breed's fucking characteristics and their journey, how they got there. But I'm just seeing modern movies, and that first one, like I said, it was a shame. I was looking forward to it. I want to see independent creators fill the gap that Hollywood's just, you know, leaving wide open. And I want them to I want them to succeed. That's the thing. I don't want them to fail. It's the same as why we promote writers. We want them to succeed. That's why we try and, you know, give a bit of a snippet because of the whole attention span thing. That's why I tell people keep the things below 20 minutes. You know, that's why I have the guidance, because if we're trying to read out like an hour long, nobody's going to sit and listen to it. At least if it's a 10-minute, 15-minute.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So people can listen to a 10, 15-minute snippet and then hopefully draw them into wanting to read the rest and try and coax people back into getting an attention span again, because it's like fitness. You can build it. Just because you don't have an attention span at the moment doesn't mean you can't work on it. Just because you can't run a marathon right now doesn't mean you can't work on it. You know, it's the same principle applies. And I think people have just given up. The majority, anyway, have just fucking switched off and have got into zombie mode. It's whoever the loudest voice tells them what to think, that's what they think. And it's like, really? Because you can just you can watch you know what I mean? Social media is the best example of it. Whatever the latest trending thing is, that's what everyone thinks, lockstep in fucking time. And then the next thing might be completely contradictory, but because the loudest voice is shouting, they flip the dime, and then they're thinking that, and you're like, how do these two compute?
Yep. Yeah, it's fucking bonkers.
But if we don't get out of this fucking mindset, we're stuffed. We're truly in trouble. Because it will be eating each other's babies. Well, I'm an old fart, so I won't be. I've only got about 40, 50 years left of me, so hopefully I'll be gone by the time it all happens. But
right, that's the one silver lining. At least you'll be dead before you have to watch all this shit.
People are getting interviewed, you know, like their late 70s stuff. Like, well, I'll be dead soon, so at least I'll not have to see it. You're like, how fucking depressing is that?
Yeah.
I love dark shit, but this is like reality. Fucking out here. Well, I'm on my way out. I'll be gone, so whatever. It's like, fucking hell, dude. You're not gone yet. You still got a good 10 years left, and you fucking live.
Right.
Well. Guess.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it. So, we hope you enjoyed our reviews. It just leaves us to say thanks to our, this month's contributors. With Horrific Tales, we got Trishan Hutchinson, Paul Barrell, Del Gibson, Chad Miller, and Steve Knight. And then, of course, we got to thank our Horrific Chats. We got D.E. McCleskey. Yep. I think I said that right, or I slaughtered it. Yeah, whatever. Got Chad Miller, Trishan Hutchinson, and Evan Boffman. So, until next time, keep it creepy.
Horrific.
Keep it horror.